Hey, so there's something that I accidentally omitted from my uh, daily detox routine, which was the video before last, and perhaps it was for good reason, and that's minerals. Minerals, 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 minerals. And minerals are what's missing from our modern lives because the topsoils are very depleted. Farmers don't rotate crops. Unless you're getting a special uh, food from a special farmer or the quote unquote biodynamic type stuff, you're not getting the minerals. So that's definitely something you want to supplement with. If you're on a whole food routine, and we mean whole food in the sense of the kind of food that the planet used to create before man started doing his business, you need to supplement with minerals because even though you may be reading stats on a plant or something from 50 years ago, just because that thing had those minerals in there back then doesn't mean they're in there now, and likely doesn't. So what I supplement with, the cheapest thing that there is available, and I've mentioned these before, is a Morningstar Minerals. Vitality Boost HA, which is humic minerals. It's got that sort of purple black kind of look to it. That's the drips on it because what I do is a dose to me as I take the cap and I pour, go like that, and you can see how black that stuff is. I'm just guessing, but this is probably very similar to the mineral pitch, like Shilajit. And then the one I take in complement with it is the Energy Boost 70. And this one's sort of a orangey, kind of a urine-like color. And I get both of these from iHerb. They're $17.99 each. And I add these to my, a capful each, to my enema water. I listen to Donna Gates, author of Body Ecology Diet, and she was working with a lot of HIV people, full-blown AIDS people before there were meds, which was 1996, and the thing that she recommended that she was having success with was daily enemas with minerals and a bit of live vinegar, not pasteurized vinegar in there, and so I've been doing that. A couple of other good mineral sources is products from Omica. They're in 2-ounce bottles, a little pricey. I kind of need to get to a point of acquiring some of these pricey things and just putting a couple drops of some of them in there. So, anyways, I don't, this line between what is food and whole food and people that want to live on quote unquote just food, well, you need to put some of the stuff back in there that should have been in there before all the pollution, before man started hybridizing, before farmers started poorly farming. Farmers used to rotate crops and do all kinds of things to ensure, the stuff was in there. Now, I live in the mountains where it's very hard. I live at 6,250 feet, and it's very difficult to grow things up here because pretty much just the forest grows up here, and pine trees make the soil very acidic. And not to mention, my property literally is thick, dense forest, and it would cost me, and I keep going round and round about whether I want to actually deforest my property, but it would cost a lot of money. It is completely doable. I'm just sitting there kind of, when I originally moved into this house, I was completely into the Hippocrates home indoor gardening, sprouting beans and stuff, and then my life got too complicated to continue doing that. And with doing home sprouting, you can add your own minerals into there by using Celtic sea salt, or perhaps mixing one of these in your water that you use to soak and stuff like that. And you can get minerals into your food, so that's just some good ideas. Another great source of minerals is the ocean. Things that come from the ocean, seaweed and fish. And, that would There's always been lots of minerals in there, and where are our minerals going that are leaving our topsoil? Why, they're of course running downhill. Where is downhill? The ocean. So the ocean is loaded with minerals. It's, of course, from being downhill, it's also loaded with our pollution. So, but one's got to take into account a strategy where, it's the same as taking herbs. And I do want to tell you that Dragon Herbs actually does have a California Prop 65 warning on it, because Chinese herbs are polluted, because China is one of the most polluted countries there are. But the strategy to have is that there is something in there that you want, and the good outweighs the bad. So in terms of the pollution that's in the ocean, there's a strategy to all this. And the number 1 and 2 thing that I know is consuming lots of cilantro, which I always put into my juice, and taking lots of chlorella. And there's still more strategy, probiotics, and taking lots of fats, and specifically coconut butter, which binds with, a lot of those pollutions. So you put that stuff in your body, and you take it out with the other stuff. But seaweeds, fish, all that stuff have lots of minerals in it. The other thing is organ meats, and things like liver and stuff like that. And again, I do have to suspect, I haven't actually read this anywhere, I don't think those minerals just appear out of nowhere. That's really dependent on the food that the animals are eating. So even if an animal's pastured, if that grass is not being grown in good topsoil, it's it's probably not as full of minerals as it was 50 years ago. So I highly recommend mineral supplementation and eating things from the ocean. So anyways, I do want to answer, Al Munger Pete asked me a question about LSD. Yes, I've done it, and I'm glad you asked. I will do a video on that, on my opinions on that, because I can tell you one thing: I am taking a big step away from the sort of puritanical world that the raw food world presents. I don't like it. So you're going to get a lot more of me, with me letting it all hang out. Like, you've already seen some stuff. So, and there's plenty more of that to come, because being a Puritan is boring. Musical selection for this video. Well, here we're going to get into some stuff that's a bit more like my own music, the kind of music that I've really liked all my life, and really everything else that I like is really just a variation on the purity of this. So this artist, his name is Steve Roach. That's a tough artist to talk about, because he's highly prolific, and he has 3 sort of very specific styles of music. One would be this style right here, which is a sequencer style, which is a specific kind of synthesizer gear. And my own work is very heavily featured of quote-unquote sequencers. The other style that he has, that he more or less kind of pioneered, there were a few artists that suggested it, but he perfected it, is a sort of dead still, atmospheric, pure ambience, where there is no percussion whatsoever, and it's all just sort of tones. And an album of his that was very, very pioneering, very successful, 2 of them, but the first one was called Structures from Silence, and the second one would be called Dreamtime Return, I think, which also featured a lot of his didgeridoo work. The third style of music that he's known for is a purely tribal kind of music, where his didgeridoo work is also featured, and it's uses his sort of synthesizer backdrops and creates all the percussion using indigenous drums, hand drums, shakers, stuff like that. So those are his 3 specific styles. But Steve Roach, I have easily seen more times live than any other artist, and it's very easy to see him in very intimate settings. The last time I saw him was some summer 2007 in a 80 people only setting. I don't even know if it was that many. It might have only been 50 people at a synthesizer store in Pomona, California called Analog Haven. At the time, it's called Noise Bug now. Anyways, Steve's work is very spiritual, and it's a great thing to explore. And it's very hard to keep up with what he's got going on, because he sometimes can put out anywhere between 5 to 10 albums a year. No kidding. This guy has no restraint with what he puts out. A lot of people would make the argument that a lot of it sounds the same. I don't agree with that. It's like saying all piano music sounds the same. But anyways, the album is Life Sequence, and the song is Sundial. So kick back and enjoy. Go to widescreen and turn it up, because a lot of you have probably never heard music like this, and it's very beautiful, and it's something completely different from all other music. It is